For what nation is there so great? We are studying the book of Deuteronomy this quarter, but it's more of a thematic study and not sequentially going through the chapter. So this week we find ourselves back at chapter 4. After going through several history reminders, Moses kind of says, keeping all this in mind, don't forget to obey God. There is a reason for what he asks for.
Because we're talking today about what constitutes a great nation, I would imagine that it is a nation with a way of life that is desirable, that I want to live, a fair life, safe, just, merciful. Whatever way of life its people live, it is a reflection of the laws and the freedoms widely accepted and observed by them. Israel was supposed to project God's image and character by the way they handle themselves, by the way they worship their God. And somehow, a little deviation from what God instructed was going to lead to a bigger change and corruption of their commitment. People tend to like to become creative when the law doesn't serve them well. And there is a danger because we can get to a point, as Jesus says, where we can completely nullify, completely cancel the word of God for the sake of my tradition or my reasoning. Once we start making steps away from the clear instruction, we become the same thinkers as Lucifer. We know better way of thinking.
Adding, removing, editing, we like that, making it our own, and it seems it's a very difficult lesson to learn, to just trust God and take Him at His word. I am part of a team of software developers. We have created a software and we maintain and extend it. From time to time, someone will see some code and say, I can do this better, or we don't need this. And then the next morning, all systems are down, or we have some weird sudden issues that no one knows where they came from. Well, they happen because someone didn't understand the reason for something and changed it. How much more trust we owe the creator of the universe? He sure knows better why he's asking for certain things.
Yeah. Israel had a vivid experience when it comes to ignoring God's command and what follows after. God commanded that they stay away from the Moabite women. They didn't obey. It all started small and in a harmless way. It led them to the point of worshiping Baal of Peor, and 25,000 men died by the plague. Their conscience was hardened first by simply allowing themselves to approach and to engage with those women, and got to the point of a spiritual shift and arrogance toward Moses and God himself. The physical compromise transitioned into a spiritual betrayal and pagan worship. Ignoring a simple command of God led to a deeper dependency of the uncontrollable power of sin. God provides protection in the command. And when we cross over by choice, we're in someone else's territory.
Israel's experience here was very important because it was bigger than them. This is something big for all of us as well also to realize. Our experiences are not just about us. They testify, they affect those around and even much further around as well.
God had a vision and a plan for Israel to be the light of the world, to be the salt of the world. However, Jesus said it that the salt can lose its saltiness and the light can be covered under a bowl irreversibly. When walking with God, by living and keeping His instructions, we continue to carry the special qualities that blesses this world. Keeping and observing God's law keeps our God close to us, and then people can see that they can approach Him and he is much more accessible. Of course, following the statutes were to protect Israel from the diseases and misfortunes afflicted on the nations around them. This was making them look wise, knowledgeable, and intellectual. Who doesn't want to live with people like that? Who doesn't want to have their short life lived the best way possible? Being the greatest nation on earth was a derivative of one simple choice: to follow and to observe carefully the laws and the decrees that God commanded.
God's law, His character and moral code, His love, His closeness to us. There is nothing else like it in this world. Our civilization today still exists and didn't get self-destructed yet just because of what He did, what He gave us, what generations have been testifying for. People have done horrible things in the name of religion and God. Through the ages, certain powers have tried to distort the image of God and His character, but it has made it to us. For what nation is there so great wasn't about human greatness, but about being a blessing for those around because of the experience with God that we radiate and share. Join us next week for the study Law and Grace.